This is Chris, the Idaho Painter here on Paint Live TV. Today I'm going to be talking about a really good option for a large airless sprayer. So if you're in the market for an airless sprayer, stay tuned for this video. So here I am in my Paint Life Academy, and I've got to my Titan 1140, just removed it out of one of the vehicles to bring it in here to talk about it. And this is a pump that I've had for about 5 years now, so I'm able to develop a really good opinion about whether this is a good sprayer for you to have or not in one of your vehicles. So this is a very large pump. I use Titan 1140s, also use 440s for my smaller pumps. I'll just start off with, with airless sprayers in general. I don't like my large pumps or really my airless sprayers in general to have a whole lot of accessories and options. I'm not a big fan, of reels that reel up your hoses. I'm not a big fan of toolboxes. I'm not a big fan of things, that make cleaning life easier and stuff. I want a pump that doesn't have all these gimmicks on it stuff, because to me, all they are is just options that are gonna break down. But one thing I do want is a digital readout. On my large pumps, I like to know, and really in general, all my pumps, I like a digital readout because I want to know exactly the PSI that I'm running. And this pump has a digital readout on it. I've had it for 5 years, never had an issue with the digital readout. This is a very, very basic airless sprayer. It has just your basic components. It's got an on-off button. It's got your pressure control. It's got your manifold filter back here and a prime hose. Just very simple. One thing I do like about this sprayer, I'm gonna start with the stand itself. Here it is, after 5 years, haven't had an issue with it. Nothing's broken, nothing's had to be replaced. I like this feature of the handle being able to slide up and down. So this thing will slide down or up to make it more compact in your vehicle. You need to slide it up because it has another feature that I do really like about it, and it's the tilt back feature. This feature right here, you can tilt back the sprayer assembly right here, the motor, that way it makes it easier for you to get in and out of your 5-gallon buckets. I really do like that feature. I'm not a big fan of high boy sprayers, but that makes it a little easier. And the reason why I'm not a fan of them, we're mostly interior and exterior repaints, residential homes, and when you tilt it back to clean it and stuff, and you're swapping buckets, paint drips all over the grass, and it's never a good thing. And in today's day and age, paints are killing grass like crazy, so you don't want to get paint in the grass. I like the low boy option because you can just move it from 5 to 5 very simply and easily. But this has been a great high boy option for us. The motor itself, never had an issue with the motor. I've never had to take this thing in to have it serviced in 5 years. So it's got inflatable tires on it. Never had a problem, never had to replace tubes tires on it. And some of the other features on it, the lower end, it's got a piston on it. Have never had to repack it or replace a piston on it. That's a very good thing. It still's got its original rock guard on it. One thing on some of the pumps that we've been testing out, the rock guard actually hits the ground or the concrete and bends it all up. This one has the right amount of distance, so it doesn't get all bent up. It's not all bent up, still holding the same shape. So the pump itself, after 5 years, it's been a great pump, no issues. We did have one issue where the sprayer froze in the wintertime. Our sheds, where we heat them, it froze and the transducer went bad. And this is something to make note of. You don't want your airless sprayers to ever freeze, because if they do freeze, one of the things that can go bad is a transducer. So we did have to replace a transducer, and that's where Titan's customer service came into play, because we called them up, told them the situation, and we got somebody on the phone right away. I didn't have to sit on hold for hours. I think I got an actual human being very quickly, within minutes. And I spoke to that person, told them that the transducer was bad, and the transducer, if you're having problems with the pressure regulating itself, that's what the transducer is. So they just FedExed me a new transducer out. It just screwed out. I screwed another one back in, and away the thing went. It started working again. So one other feature I want to talk about on the Titan pumps is their newer pumps now have this really cool self-oiling feature that I do really like, because you don't have to always have oil with you, and that's throat seal oil. And all you gotta do is take and release the top cap right here. There's a small little red cap, and you just fill this port up with oil. And there's a button on the other side. Every time you go to use this thing, you really should just give it, 1 or 2 squirts of oil. There's a button on the back side right here. I'll feel around, a red button right there. I'm just gonna squeeze that a couple times, and it's gonna release the throat seal lubricant down there to lubricate your piston. If you're not doing that, you're gonna wear out your piston packings a lot sooner, so make sure you're lubricating that. You can hear it when it starts to run out. When you're squirting it, you can't hear like the sound of oily squirting out. You kind of hear an air sound, so then you know to refill it back up. The feature on the back side right here, the one thing here's we got our prime tube right here. The prime tube, after 5 years, because the way when that thing sets in a 5-gallon bucket, it sets down in there, it kinks at a 90-degree angle, and it should have probably a metal fitting right there that turns at a 90 degrees so it can go in the bucket. That thing is worn out and it's cracked down here, and it's exposed the braiding on the hose, and it is leaking now. Small item, probably about $20 to replace that. So replacing that, the transducer was a warranty issue. They already replaced the transducer at no cost, great customer service. It does have the option right here where you can hang a 5-gallon bucket, tilt it back, and you can wheel it around. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of guys like the high boy option, because you can take and wheel your pump around, not have to carry the 5-gallon bucket. We like the low boy option. With the low boy option, you're gonna have to carry the bucket and wheel your sprayer around at the same time. But that's a really good option for guys doing new construction, the high boys, because they're tilting their sprayers back to clean them. Paint is pouring off the intake tube onto the ground or onto the dirt, and they're typically at job sites where that does not matter. But we're doing residential homes, and that spilling of paint just becomes kind of a little bit messy and an option we don't like. The coating on it here is a little bit faded, a little bit worn out, and that's because when we first got it, we used to clean it every day with Simple Green. Kind of wore the coating out a little bit, so I don't think I'd recommend doing what we were doing and it's scrubbing it down with Simple Green like we were doing. We started wearing the coating off on it, and it stripped the clear coat off that plastic housing pretty quick. So something I probably wouldn't recommend doing. We typically we like our big pumps, and one of the reasons why we like big pumps, for doing our exteriors on our houses instead of say like a Titan 440. I had a Titan 440 for the first 3 years of my business, and I use it exclusively doing res repaints and new construction. It can't handle the tip size. A big pump like this can handle a lot larger tips like 1226s, 1221s, which can spray heavier coatings like block fillers and elastomeric coatings. The other thing is we like running a whole lot of hose. So I've got a lot of hose right here. These pumps, we can hook up multiple hoses together. I can set this pump in one location, and typically this hose will work around the entire house, so the pump will never have to move. And that's one of the reasons why even for a low boy option for us, a low boy is not a bad thing, because we're typically not moving our pumps around. So we're running the 3/8" hose as our first hose length coming off the pump, and then we're typically running 2 or 3 1/4" hoses after that. And what happens is by having a larger hose right here, you work your pump a lot less. So one other thing I want to discuss about on this Titan 1140 is the manifold filter itself. So I'm going to remove this manifold filter here. This manifold, one of the incredible things about this filter is after 5 years, this is still the original manifold filter. So that is really good. On a lot of our other sprayers that we've had, we typically will be replacing those things, every couple years. And I don't know, they're about, $10 to $15 per manifold filter. So that thing has held up really well. So there's the pump itself. If you're in the market for a large pump, I highly recommend the Titan 1140. It's been a great pump for me for 5 years. It's made us a whole lot of money. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, Check us out. We're on Facebook. We have a group, Paint Life Members. Paint Life Members is an open group. You can go there, get all kinds of help and information. We've got thousands of members out there. So if you got a question, if you ask it, you're typically going to get like 10 to 20 people help you out. You can get advice on bidding. You can get advice on pump repairs. You can get advice on how to cut in a ceiling line, all kinds of other stuff. We do have Paint Life Mafia. That is a paid group. If you want to be part of that, and open enrollment only happens a couple times a year. Go check us out on Instagram. We have all kinds of really cool stuff. Anyways, hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, we'll see you on our next video. Out.